Today on So You Want to Be a Mermaid, I want to talk to you about my really unique experience swimming in underwater caves in the cenotes in Mexico. We're gonna have a video just about Mexico, and I've done a few little recaps, but this was one of the most monumental experiences of my life. So I had to climb down this ladder to get into this cave, and it was pitch black. So our guide and our photographer had to bring lights with us. We had to string a rope from one end of the cave to the other so people had something to grab onto when they came up out of the water. The water was crystal clear and so beautiful, and there were stalactites coming from the ceiling and coming from the floor, and you could just kind of wait on the stalactites until it was your turn. And Brett put this beautiful red light behind us to kind of give almost like a reverse silhouette, I guess. I'm not really sure what the technical term would be for it, but it kind of haloed around us, and then we had the fill light in front. And there were lots of little fish in the water, and there were bats above us, which was really cool. I have not often in my life seen bats. I've seen them a handful of times here in Nova Scotia, but these were big bats, and they were using their sonar echolocation. You could hear it, and it was really cool. So I was kind of scared going to do this. I'm not normally claustrophobic, but I felt a little claustrophobic, and because it was pitch black and we had to bring our own light, and it was just kind of like the fear of the unknown. We did a couple other ones that were sort of semi-caves. There was this really cool one that we could jump into, and it also had a ladder going into it, but the top of it was still open, and we got really cool drone footage from above and stuff, but it wasn't quite the same as this one. And I was wearing my slip-ins wetsuit, which I actually have a code for now, Raina 10, just like my Mertailor code. You can get 10% off at slip-ins if you want to check them out. But it was just really cool, and I was wearing it, and it kept me warm, and it kept the bugs from bothering me. There were iguanas all over the place. There were carpenter ants and stuff. It was really trippy, and it just took a lot of bravery to do it. I was just very nervous. It's not an experience I've ever had. Here in Nova Scotia, we have the ovens, which is like a natural cave system, and people do go in them, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same at all. So I was modeling in it, and I had this really wonderful time. A couple of days later, I noticed I had spots all over my legs, and I may have spoken about this in another one of my videos. Maybe it's not up yet, but I had spots all over my legs. I thought this was maybe folliculitis, which is something that mermaids can get occasionally. It's when your hair follicles get infected, and it often happens from being in dirty water or sitting in your tail in stagnant water for too long, you know, mixed in with like moisturizer that you might use to get the tail on. It's mildewy or whatever, so it's pretty common to get folliculitis. And because the spots were only on my legs, I just thought it was folliculitis, and everyone else kind of started noticing these spots too. And then on the way home from the trip, I had an asthma attack on the airplane, and I don't have asthma. The only reason I knew it was an asthma attack is because I have people in my life who have asthma. So my lungs, like I felt fine, but my lungs just filled up with fluid, as if I had inhaled water, and I was coughing and coughing, and I couldn't get it out. I wasn't sick, it just happened. And it wasn't like a panic attack or anything, it was just literally just water in my lungs. People were offering me cough drops and their own inhalers. It was weird. So anyway, and then I came home, and I had a host of other health issues, and I went to the doctor. And my trip was in October, and it's now the day I'm recording this, it's the very beginning of February. And I have been sick for almost that entire time, like really, really sick. And I can be healthy for days and days, and then all of a sudden my lungs fill up again, and I'm coughing. And then I'm also really struggling with fatigue. My Patreons know that I haven't been able to get videos out as frequently as I would like to. And I'm a little, because of the being so tired, you can kind of tell I've got the mental fog going on. It's hard for me to articulate things. So I didn't really add all of this up. I just kind of thought it was bad luck. Like, yeah, I went on this amazing trip, and I got a rash, and then I got a cold, and then I got a flu. Like, I kind of thought it was all random stuff. But then it turned out that there has been a travel warning in place and a lot of people are getting sick, and 10 people where I am were recently hospitalized for this disease called histoplasmosis, which is a fungus that grows as a result of bat poop. And the fungus gets in the air and you breathe it in, it gets into your lungs. The very first symptom you get, spots all over your legs. And then you have like asthma attacks because your lungs fill up. And for most healthy people, they might not get any symptoms at all, or they might just get spots and like a mild cough and it goes away. But for people who already have chronic illness, histoplasmosis can become more serious and can hang on for a really long time. So they put out this warning and we looked it up, and sure enough, the caves that I was in tested positive for the disease, and they're putting out these warnings after we get back, and they're telling people don't brush it off, it can be really serious. It's similar to having Lyme disease or mono. You're not contagious to other people, but you, especially if you have other complications, you can die. And one of the women that the newspaper wrote about who was doing a trip like this in Cuba and was exposed to the virus, they actually thought she had lung cancer because she had such a terrible, terrible reaction. And when they scanned her lungs, they saw nodules, and it turned out not to be lung cancer, but to be this disease. So guess who has this disease? I have the worst luck, I swear. I cannot go on a trip without some kind of stupid thing happening. My first time to the California Mermaid Convention, I had like the worst case of tonsillitis and like a viral infection that I've ever had in years. I was like sick for 6 weeks. Last year I had an allergic reaction to medication right before the trip, and then when I was on the trip I like broke my 2 big toes, and that was terrible. And then Mexico is amazing and I get bat poop disease. So I'm okay, and they sent my blood work to Ottawa because they can't do all the necessary testing here in Halifax, and it goes through like the infectious disease control, and basically they're gonna decide if I need to take antifungals, oral antifungals or not, and it just kind of depends on the level of what's in my blood, because I could still just fight it off. I basically feel like you do when you have mono, if you've ever had mono. I am so tired. I have not done a mermaid gig since September, I think, because I went on the trip in October, and then when I came home I felt so unwell that I just didn't do any gigs. I might have had one in there that I can't remember, but yeah, I haven't done gigs in months and months and months because I've been feeling so unwell. And we did audition for new mermaids. That's really exciting, and we've been training them up, and I was in the pool for that, but it did make me really tired. I'm just really tired. I can sleep from anywhere 8 to 10 hours at night. Then I'll be up for 2 hours, and then I'll want a nap for 4 hours, and then be up for 2 hours, and then be tired again. It's just really hard to get things done because I'm very sleepy and exhausted, but I am slowly getting better every single day. So the cave swimming was awesome. The bats, poop, disease, not so much. The good thing is once you've been exposed to it once, you become immune, so you can't get it again. And it's rare, but it's not rare. It's rare for people who aren't exposed to bats or birds on a regular basis, but people in the farming industry get it. People who live in places where there's a lot of bird migration can get it. Going in the caves, most definitely you can get it. And there's not really a way to prevent it because you don't know if it's present or not. Most people would not have the reaction that I had. But I would just caution you that if this is on your bucket list and you wanted to go to the cenotes, or you wanted to go cave diving or something, pay attention to your body. And if you show weird symptoms, you should tell your doctor, and your doctor isn't automatically going to think of histoplasmosis. My doctor only did because there was a health warning about it. So you would need to say, hey, I went swimming in a place and it had bats, so I could be exposed to histoplasmosis. I've gotten so many weird health issues because of mermaiding. Years ago, I got crypto, which is a parasite from dirty pools. I got that before. I've had skin infections from mermaiding. I've had eye infections and ear infections. It's not fun. I've hurt myself really bad. I've broken bones. We definitely suffer for our art. But damned, my photos look great. It was really awesome. I really did love it. It was a really, really fun trip. I'd do it again even if I knew I was gonna get sick. I would probably still do it again because this is my life. I have chronic illness and I get sick, and I can't just stop living my life because I get sick. If I stopped every time I got sick, I would never do anything, right? So you kind of have to do what you can do, right, Pinky? Pinky's wandering around by my feet here. I want her to be in the video, but she doesn't want to. Hey. Hi, you wanna come up and be in the video? No? Anyway, thank you so much for checking out my video about cave diving. It was really, really fun. I am a trained and certified freediver, so please remember to never swim alone. Always have a safety buddy. I cannot stress getting certification enough. It's really helpful. Freediving is the best for mermaiding in my opinion. Check us out on patreon.com/RainaMermaid. Remember my discount codes, Raina10, all capitals. You can use that on the Slip-ins website, and you can use it on the Mertailor website for all their fabric products. No silicone, but all their fabric products will get you 10% off. And we've got lots of really fun things coming up in the future. I'm going to Florida, going to California, going to Newfoundland, gonna hopefully meet the Merbies. If you've ever heard of them, we're gonna hopefully interview them. It is gonna be a really fun and amazing 2020 now that I'm getting over bat poop. Best fishes.